tweeted this then, and for the past few days now,
from his handle.
Yes, from his verified Twitter handle.
Okay.
Now the presidency has not disclaimed this so far, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if this were to be true, then what it simply means is that the American government, over time, and let me say this very clearly, I must say this with every sense of responsibility, that today America is assuming this posture. The things that gave rise to this may not have happened now or yesterday. This is probably things that happened over time.
Culminated over time.
Yes. Okay. An aggregate of things, maybe in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years. It could be. Now, they've been keeping this dossier. Now, I thought what the Nigerian government should have done when this news, in fact, let me also tell you one other thing else.
Go ahead, sir.
Nigeria should get more bothered, particularly the elites. You see, when this news broke about roughly 1 month ago, that Ted Cruz, the American senator, who came up with this issue.
In the American Senate?
Yes, in the American Senate, about the Christian genocide in Nigeria. What I expected the Nigerian government to do was to take this matter very serious. The president probably should have raised a team of some kind of an envoy comprising religious leaders of international repute. We have them in Nigeria here. Diplomats, very credible diplomats, and find a way to send them to the United States to engage. You see, because perception is everything. Perception is everything. You don't allow this narrative to gain ground to the point that what you're not doing is damage control. Number two, so let's grant the fact that everything may not have been happening now, because if you ask me, since the Bola Ahmed Tinubu came into office, I do not think, we have heard such news of as it used to happen before.
With insecurity in Nigeria?
No, not just generally insecurity. Specifically now, the genocide is a systematic, onslaught, either by killing or subjugation or extermination of a particular set of people, based on the fact that they are identified with that particular. For instance, if it's an ethnic genocide, you say based on the fact that they identify with that ethnic society or ethnicity
identity.
If it is religion, based on the fact that they identify with that particular religion. It is systematic, over time, deliberate, right? That is genocide. And if you look at events in Nigeria, go beyond 2023, take it from, let's say, 2010. Now, you ask yourself, where has been the hotbed of killings and other insecurity cases? That is not the type that probably happened in the southeast. You talk about the North Central, Plateau, Nasarawa, Benue, and some parts of Maiduguri. Right? Now, these are states, and Kaduna, particularly the southern Kaduna. And you and I know that these are places that are densely populated by Christians.
Maybe we'll call them Northern Christians.
These things may not have happened now, and that is where I want the Nigerian government to pay attention to. You see, because when this thing came, those who work in the presidency, those who speak for the Mr. President, they just went haywire, talking as usual. But unfortunately, it didn't occur to them that this time around they are not talking of the Nigerian people. They are talking of a country that has all the resources and all the arsenal and everything to gather intelligence and information. Now, you do not know the extent of the intelligence that is available to the United States government. So, I thought the Nigerian government should engage them. The president seek audience with your counterparts. The Minister of Foreign Affairs seek audience with your counterparts. Go with your own data. Compare with what they have. Don't be defensive. Accept areas where, things have not been okay. Seek.
Do you think such a meeting ground was ever possible, between
those meetings don't just happen. They don't just happen. I came to this studio today because there was a reach out, right? Now, if I didn't get a call, we interacted, and I said, okay, I will come. This meeting wouldn't have happened. So, meetings of that nature don't happen until somebody initiates it. And that's what I'm saying, that at the time this news broke, we probably delayed in our actions. What happened? The Senate they were debating sending a delegate planning. We need to say these are not things. Is not it. And for me, that was more like a jamboree.
Is that not a serious indictment on the caliber of leadership that we have in this climate?
No, it's not about an indictment. Most of the things, how come everybody is not rattled?
You know this usual attitude of playing to the gallery.
That's what I'm saying.
When critical national issues emerge.
That's what I'm saying. There are things, in this country, we have an attitude of when, you see, in crisis management, or rather in security generally, and conflict management, there's something we call early warning. You must watch out for early warning. No crisis happens without an early warning. But you see, most people take early warnings for granted. They either take them for granted or don't take them very serious. In the same way, any of the trade unions want to go on strike in Nigeria now, they write to the government, they don't take them serious until you wake up one morning to hear that this union has gone on strike.
Aside the trade union relationship with the government, what about natural disasters such as we begin to experience flooding? So it's an attitude. Flooding. It's an attitude that
the warnings will come
that in the next 6 months there's going to be flooding, and then we keep quiet till it happens.
It's an attitude we must deal with in this country. Now, that aside, so I think that what is happening now is a situation where the United States government probably may have over time been putting their information together, and maybe very unfortunately they are speaking out now, and it happens to be that President Bola Tinubu is on the seat. Maybe a lot of these things didn't quite happen within the 2 years he has been president of Nigeria.
So it's not just about Bola Tinubu being president.
And this is where most of those who speak for him, they speak as if Nigeria is not the government is not a continuum.
I'm going to pause you there now. The signs have come for us to go on a very quick break, so that when we return, I want us to actually look at the factual, which is the third factor you raised earlier on. Let's look at the factuality of these whole things. So that if you are still with us, we'll be right back. The conversation continues with Aneke Odom. All right, so there you welcome back to the program, The Arena, where we are taking on a very critical national and international issue that has to do with, the face-off, between the United States government and the Nigerian government at the moment. Because the president of the United States of America, Donald Trump, has issued a warning to the Nigerian government over the genocidal killings of Christians in Nigeria, saying they may strike. Well, we don't know if it's a livable threat yet, but then going by the disposition of the character of the man, Donald Trump, he said in his campaigns that he's going to protect Christians. He will protect Christians and fight anything that's going to, offend Christians. I don't know the romance or relationship Donald Trump has with Christianity, but I don't think he's even a Christian. Is he one? I saw him wielding the Bible during the campaigns, but I don't think he's a Christian.
Why do you think so?
Which of the denominations does he belong in Christendom? If you know his denomination, you could share.
No, you see, the point is it doesn't even need to be a Christian, and you see, we live in a world where there are values, and these values are universal in nature, and that is what we talk about. Very unfortunately, we see the reverse in the developing world. We see places, okay, let's even assume, if you go through have you seen any leader? All the countries have suffered one genocide or the other today. Have you seen any leader on seat and either his religion or his ethnic nationality or the tribe that where he belongs becomes a victim of genocide? Have you seen that happen? Good. Now, all the leaders today that have been indicted for genocide, whether it's al-Bashir in Sudan, or any of the other leaders, it is usually not their own tribe
that suffers.
And so what does it tell you? It simply tells you that what we have in the developing world is chronism. People become protective of theirs and don't care. A leader becomes protective of if his religion, his people of his own religion, and probably doesn't care what happens to people of other religion. He's a bit, carefree about what happens to people of other religion. And if it's a tribal thing, he protects people of his tribe. But that is very wrong. And that is what we see in the developing world.
Like we witnessed in Kenya in the early 90s.
And that is the reason why.
And
that is the reason why when leaders get to positions of authority, you see those who identify with him either on the angle of religion or on the angle of tribe. You see them behave in a certain way, and people, they build a shield around that leader, even if irrespective of how the leader is behaving on that seat. They never get to see. They never get to believe that he could be very wrong. They support practically everything he's doing because the belief is that our own Abraham, our own Godfather, is there now. You understand the point I'm trying to make?
Like Napoleon is always right.
Exactly.
In George Orwell's Animal Farm.
Exactly. Because his supporters, those who are from his side, so to say, see him as their chief protector. So he must be supported at all costs. He can never be wrong. Even when others are saying, no, what this leader is doing is they rather go after those people. And that is what you get. That's the kind of leadership you get in Africa. And so values are neglected. Values are abandoned. But when you see a leader come out to say, I am going to protect this, as long as those things border on values. For instance, the issue of human life. No Christian deserves to be killed. No Muslim deserves to be killed. Not even those who don't believe in anything, atheists.
Or even the third major religion in Nigeria, the traditional.
That's what I'm saying, the African traditional religion. Not just them, Christians, Muslims, African traditional religion, atheists, and people who believe in other foreign religions. Nobody deserves to be killed. If God wants to kill anybody for not believing in him, leave that for him. You're not a heavenly policeman.
Playing God.
Playing God. Leave that person with God. And if God has decided to leave these people alive, what is your own job? Why are you giving yourself headache? And this is something that, and this is a value we need to entrench in this country. Whether there are persecutions in this country or not, nobody can come and tell that. No, I'm even surprised that right now the government is preaching and asking all Nigerians to, rally around, come under one umbrella, speak in one voice. But tomorrow, if you have issues with this government, you want to say no, I don't believe in this, you want to do protest, they will go and deal with you. When you do things like this, you create a sense of, disenchantment and amongst the people. And to now rally around government on matters of this nature becomes very difficult.
So for you now, for Donald Trump, he's looking at the protection of values.
Yeah, for me, because if tomorrow he sees where Muslims are being killed or people of other religions are being killed and he doesn't say anything about it, I would say he's being partial.
You're being partial?
Yes, because for me, it's the value that I'm concerned about.
There are some other aspects of Donald Trump's personal character disposition I want us to look at, but not right now.
Okay.
If we are going to have enough time, by the producer, we may look at that. But I want us to look at the factual, the third factor you mentioned earlier, the factuality of the matter.
Yes. Now, yes, the factuality of the matter is that I already touched on that, and I did say, if you look at Nigeria today,
yes,
nobody denies the fact that killings have been going on. Quite frankly, we have security challenges, and I don't think anybody will deny that. And if you look back in the last 10 years or thereabouts, the question to ask is, where have been the hotbed of these killings? The Boko Haram, the ISWAP, the banditries, and all the things, all the security challenges that we've been having.
Even there's a part we're neglecting. The herdsmen attack.
That's what I'm saying. Of course,
farmers.
Of course, they're all part in the same pack. Now, if you look, where have been the hottest beds? I mean, the hottest zones of these attacks? They're not central, apart from Maiduguri. They're not central. And I mentioned to you, and I said, look at Benue. In fact, take your mind back to when Governor Autumn was in power. In fact, that was in this particular incident that Governor Autumn came out and he was almost crying on national television. Look at Benue. Look at...
There was an incident, There was an incident where the Governor Autumn, actually had to escape from his attackers.
That's the point.
He went to his farm, they attacked him, he had to run for his life.
Now,
and I think at the end of the day, the Herders Association came and they claimed responsibility.
Look at Benue. In fact, I remember there was a time also where the Governor Autumn himself in Benue State almost, were making very uncomplimentary remarks against the former president, Buhari at that time.
Muhammadu Buhari.
Yes. These things are in the news, they are in public domain. And that was where he came out to say that when he set up his security, the security outfit in Benue, and that he needed gun. He needed a certain kind of gun for the security outfit to carry in tackling insecurity, but it was denied. Remember?
Yes.
Now,
and in addition, also, T.Y. Danjuma. Which part of the country?
He's from Taraba.
Is he a Christian?
Yes, he's a Christian.
There was a time he asked his people to rise up to defend
themselves.
Go ahead, sir.
Now, look at Benue State. Look at Nasarawa State. Look at Plateau State. Look at the Southern Kaduna.
And Taraba.
Look at some parts of... Now, these are places, though in the northern part of the country, we call them North Central, but these are places that will have large number of Christians. And they seem to be the hotbeds of this. Now, the question is this. Among all the people that are dead, victims of all of this insecurity, Can any Nigerian agency today, because we're talking about facts, can any Nigerian agency today come to say between 2014 or 2010, 2025, these are the total number of people that have been killed by other bandits, Boko Haram, ISWAP, or through all of this insecurity that's happening? This is the total number of people that have been killed. Among all these people, so and so number are Christians and so number are Muslims. And if you go through these indices, then it is very clear to say that more Muslims have been killed, or nobody has that figure.
Probably that statistics exist. We may not.
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly where I'm going to. Now, you do not know whether America has such statistics or not. You don't know. So and that is when this news came out, what I expect, the first thing, even the Senate, to my own consternation, the first thing everybody did was to condemn Ted Cruz, and people said all kinds of things. Now, I had expected some institutions where to go beyond the ordinary. These are institutions that engage in research. These are institutions you can call think tank. They have a think tank arm. To go beyond that, to engage these people, engage probably the American agencies, and say, look, this is the figure we have. Do you have a superior figure? For you to come up with this, what led you to say this?
So that we can compare and contrast.
But I'm not sure these things were done. The first we did was to become that defensive. And let me tell you, Ted Cruz, the same man,
the senator.
Yes, there's a bill that is in the works in the American Senate. In the American Senate now, I think it is called a religious appropriation bill or something like religious protection appropriation, something like that.
Okay.
Now, that bill is making a steady progress. The moment it becomes a law,
in the U.S.
The Secretary of State, based on the statistics available to them, they can look into any country, particularly, I think it's even centered on Nigeria. They can look into the country and mention names. They can look individuals there and say, see, this number of people, please freeze their assets in the United States, freeze their so and so thing, withdraw their visa, and all kinds of sanctions can be imposed on them for cases of either they are aiding religious abuse or impeding religious freedom, and it's a funny case.
So, aside this other aspect of the security concern, there's also the other part, the economic aspect of the threat from Donald Trump.
Yes.
He threatened that he was going to cut off every aid coming from the U.S. to Nigeria. What's the implication? If that should happen?
Of course, that's what it's supposed to be. See, and that is why it's good for every country to be 100% independent, if it is possible.
Could that ever be possible?
No, but at least
which nation could be an island of
to a reasonable extent. The same way it happens for individuals, that's why it happens for even nations. It's just that it's on a more magnitude. As an individual,
yes,
if your basics, if you cannot be responsible for your basics, it's a serious problem. You are a man, you have a family, right? The house you're living in is at the expense of somebody else. The 3 square meals you eat in a day, your movement, practically the basics, somebody else is heavily subsidizing it. Of course, we don't need anybody to tell you that your independence and your freedom is limited. You should mind what you say. You should mind where you go. You should mind the way you act.
Or even how you breathe.
Because if you offend the man who is...
Your breath could even be an offense to him.
So you should know that. But when you know that, look, you provide all that you need, basically. Maybe where you have to rely on somebody outside is something you can even dispense with. Of course, you can come out boldly and air your views and air your opinion. It doesn't matter if anybody gets offended. After saying you get into your car and drive home, nobody's going to lock the gate to say you can't come in. That is the way it works. So, America knows very well that they support very heavily many nations of the world. And that is why they sometimes boldly, without resorting to any decency at all, they can come out and tell you, say, this is what we want to do. Doesn't matter how you feel about it. Because they know very well that you can't bluff, you can't call up their bluff. If you do, you pay a bigger price somewhere else.
The consequences are there. For instance, I know we cannot begin to make comparison between Nigerian resources to that of the U.S. because we know that U.S. by a very wide margin surpasses Nigeria, even landmass.
Are we talking of
population?
Are we talking of
resources?
No, hold on. Before we even do that, we need to put it in context.
Go ahead.
When we talk about resources, are we talking of developed resources or non-developed resources? Because if you talk about natural resources, are we really sure that US is far more blessed in terms of natural resources than Nigeria?
Maybe not blessed now, but ability to harness.
So let's contextualize it by saying,
for instance,
developed resources.
Okay, for instance, if we were to look at the budgetary allocation of these two states, annual budgets, I don't know if you've taken time to go.
I know what you're talking about.
The US.
I know what you're talking about. I was only saying, let's put your statement in context. Yeah. When you say, the US is bigger in terms of resources, and I say, please contextualize it by saying US is bigger in developed resources, because when you say resources, it looks as, because resources is inclusive of both natural and developed. Well, when you come to natural, I am not sure. That is the one that comes from God, isn't it? I'm not sure US is far more blessed in terms of natural resources.
Use their natural resources when they are not at, when they are not.
No, it goes to highlight the sympathetic nature of your case as a country now. It's very sympathetic that we can be highly blessed, right? If you talk about the first 10, I'm giving an example now.
Right.
If we're among the first 10 nations of the world in terms of natural resources, but when you talk about developed resources, will now fall under the 10 least nations of the world. Is that not a tragedy? It's like a man whose father is a world billionaire, and you are counted among those who cannot pay school fees in the community secondary school. Can't you see it's a very big disaster?
Tragedy.
So that is why, yes, US is ahead of Nigeria in developed resources. And when we say these things, they will help us to tell us where we are and the things we need to do, and very fast too.
There are some people from another side of the matter who have alleged that probably America is being threatened by the current leadership in Nigeria. One, politics.
Which leadership?
They tend to see the economic policies of the current president, as trying to make Nigeria become self-reliant, and maybe by omission or commission extend such reliance to the ECOWAS countries.
These are beer parlor conjectures. These are beer parlor conjectures. See what is happening in Nigeria.
So then you understand. So
that America is not threatened. America is not threatened. America is not threatened by the economic hegemony of people like China and this. You see, the thing is that these are the arguments that people put up, and these arguments, you know what they do to us? They stop us from, accepting responsibility and taking steps for that leads to redress. The truth of the matter is that now sometimes too, I like this kind of arguments when they like this kind of scenario that is unfolding now. Everybody is rattled now because Donald Trump has said so. But quite frankly, if Donald Trump is pointing out the fact that there's no total religious freedom in Nigeria, can you really say that there's a total religious freedom in Nigeria? Because you're in Enugu here. You wake up in the morning, you want to go to where you want to. You put up your in some other parts of the country. Are people there? There's a video that's been circulating on social media.
Okay.
One, is it a Reverend Pastor Dakomo or something from the north or so?
Okay.
There are many parts of this country today. And by the way, let me ask you. You heard about the story of the woman who was murdered in Kubwa in Abuja.
Okay.
some time ago. Was it in 2015 or 2016? The woman that was on an early morning cry.
And she was born.
You heard about the story of
the
young student that murdered someone. You see, and you think these things are not. You see, it happens, and we forget. There are people who catalog these things, and sometimes what they are concerned about is not that they happened. Is how did the government handle these cases? What were the consequences? You see, because for every wrongdoing of this nature that the government fails to address very squarely is a latent encouragement
for more to
happen. And beyond that, see, if I'm the Nigerian leader,
you have less than a minute to go. Apologies.
It's okay. Yeah, but that is true. That's where it happens.
So hitting the nail on the head.
Yes.
What should Nigerian government do now in the next 30 seconds?
Nigerian government should activate the highest diplomatic, opportunities that are available, and they are there to deal with this situation. It hasn't gone that bad. What happened that Donald Trump just called our attention, and that's the point I was trying to make. If a Nigerian had called attention, or any group in Nigeria had called attention to these things, now would we have been taking this serious?
Okay. So it's coming from the right source.
That is why
it's coming from where
sometimes
attention will be
we
paid.
need things like this to enable us take redress.
Okay, we need things like this to enable us take redress. We hope that indeed the Nigerian government will be able to address this matter so that it doesn't get out of hand, it doesn't escalate. Donald Trump said he's coming. We'll watch and see. Until come your way again, I remain Chris Aneke, thanking Aneke for coming to the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Bye for now.
The Arena with Chris Aneke is the platform where we meet to take critical analysis of burning and topical issues and matters in the society as to proper solutions on making the society better.
You came into office, you locked the door to everybody. Nobody can even access you. You don't even play the politics.
Month in, month out, year in, year out. So where is the money going to? Where's the resources?
Whenever the economy is in a shambles, you find the government embracing pro-people policy to assuage the harsh economic reality.
It was used to settle political interest, and Nigerians were paying dearly for it.
Tune in to the Arena with Chris Aneke every Monday through Thursday by 1 p.m. only on Aneke TV. Join us.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, 042, and a beautiful morning to everyone watching. You're tuned into Sunrise on Aneke TV, where every sunrise begins with positivity and purpose. You're welcome this morning. Your brightness and daily joy. I'm Deborah Wakoba, coming to you live from our studio here in Vibrant Inogo.
Deborah, how are you?
I'm fine too.
Looking beautiful.
Thank you very much. And you too, you're looking good too.
Yeah. And good morning to you, our global audience. I'm Uche Osai. Wherever you are, at home, in your office, or in traffic, thank you for letting us into your space this morning. We're here to refresh, inform, and motivate.
Yes, it's Thursday, 13th November 2025, and of course it's another edition of Sunrise. So we have a power-packed morning today. We have the latest news, weather, hot topics, and that special Sunrise vibe to help you begin your day.
So, grab that cup of coffee or tea, relax, enjoy the cruise, because the sunrise is set sail.
All right, so today we'll be starting things off with our quote of the day, with words that are thoughtful, inspiring, and to help us keep focused or stay well driven.
Then it's straight into the day's top headlines. All the key updates you need to remain informed will be served hot and tasty.
Yes, and we'll also be giving you that full weather report covering cities across the southeast, so you know what to expect before you step out, or if you've stepped out already, it's to help you throughout the rest of the day.
And later we'll wrap things out with the global holidays. Fun updates, celebrations to keep you smiling and keep your spirit lifted.
All right, now let's go to our morning show inspiration segment. So today we'll be taking a look or a moment to reflect on a powerful African proverb that says, not everyone who chased the zebra caught it, but he who caught it chased it. I'm going to take that proverb again. An African proverb that says, not everyone who chased the zebra caught it, but he who caught it chased it. And this is an African proverb, and that this saying reminds us, or it's reminding us about the relationship between effort and success. And it also means that while not everyone who tries will succeed, and everyone who succeeds had to try. And in other words, you can't win if you don't play. So success doesn't just happen, it comes to those who take action, who show persistence, and also those who keep chasing their goals, even when the odds seems tough. Now, this African proverb that says, not everyone who chased the zebra caught it, but he who caught it chased it. Now, we can see that everyone might be going after a goal, going after an opportunity, but then at the end of the day, one person has to get it, and that person keeps on being persistent. That person keeps on trying and trying as hard, no matter what, that person finally or later got to the end result. And now, so the zebra in this proverb symbolizes ambition. It symbolizes opportunity or a dream. We all have dreams. We all have one thing we're aspiring to be. We have inspirations. We have something that inspires us and something that is of value, that even though it might be difficult to catch, it might be difficult for us to see. Most people don't even see to the end, because some people, once they get to that area, they get tired. They get to half of the journey and they're tired at the end of the day. But if you keep on being persistent, if you keep on pursuing your goal even though you're tired, at the end of the day, you find the end result. So many people may chase after what they are pursuing, after what they want to achieve in life, but only the one who stays focused, disciplined, and determined will eventually succeed. And Mr. Ocha, I would like to know your own thoughts on this quote.
All right, my taking on this is simply, as you've really summarized, Africans are very deep when it comes to using words, you understand, to laced in deep thinking to convey meanings. And this proverb this morning, that not everyone who chases the zebra caught it, but he who caught it chased it. You rightly pointed out, speaking to efforts. At the end of the day, what matters is not effort. What matters in life is results. You may have, put in all your best, but the results is not showing the same. So what do you do? Keep pushing, because at the end of the day, what really matters is the results that you are showing. At the end of it, what you show is not effort. What you show is results. It's just like when we're in school. At the end of the day, you go to school every day. Do you understand? Yes, everyone see you going to school, but at the end of the day, what they will ask is, what position did you take? They won't ask you is school as early as possible. They won't ask that you were the one that has been answering questions in class and all. What matters is the result. Yes, when you bring the report card, what's the evidence? Your position in class. That's what determines the effort. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter the excuse you have on the way. If you slip by the wayside, get up, keep running, keep at the target, keep chasing it till success becomes the result. And that's what matters in life. And this quote here rightly points out to us, using the zebra as a mark of symbolism, as that target, as that success, that, though a lot of men, let's go to the hunters. A lot of the hunters go to the bush for hunt. And what matters is not the near success stories, right? What matters is that when you're coming back, they see you with a zebra, you have an antelope in your hand to show for the toil in the forest through the night, through the day. That's the evidence that, yes, you're a good hunter. So in whatever you do, what matters is results. Excuses, challenges will not present the effort. What marks the commitment, the resilience, the effort put in is success. So you can have dream, yes, but that's not enough until that dream is shown evidently for people to see as success. Then that's when the efforts will say to have been worth it. So it doesn't matter whatever goals you have, whatever dreams you have, like you just said, it should be persistent. Just like the student who goes to school every morning, but he knows that he will be graded. So your whole summation is based on your position in class, and in life your whole summation is based on the success that you present. When you come to workplace, you understand, at the end of the day, what your superiors are after is the results. They don't tell you or ask you, did you sleep last night to be able to achieve results? What they want is that when you come in the morning, present results. That's the evidence that you really put in the time, you really put in the effort.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Well, actually, what you said is the whole truth. Like what, at the end of the day, what matters is the evidence. So you might be going through difficulties. The road will be rough for you to fulfill or accomplish that dream you are chasing. So please, I would like to say you should chase your zebra, even though no matter the challenges you're going through, no matter what you're facing, even though life throws, like what people normally say, when life throws lemon at you, make a lemonade. So go through that thing. It might be to your advantage. Now, there are many struggles. There are many people taking lots of risk, and that risk is what would build you. There's this saying I like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yes, and so every pebble thrown at you should be a stepping stone to climb higher.
Yes, and all of this are part of the journey of life. It's something that can make you strong. It's more of gaining experience. Now, if it's a straight road, you won't value it. Believe me, you won't value that thing. Like if you should wake up in the morning every day and see food on your table, just like that, trust me, you will not value it. That food will not have value because you already know, yes, I have this thing. Or when you're getting money, pocket money every day from your parents, for example, that money would not be valuable. But if you go through the stress of waking up every morning 6 a.m., going to work every day, trying to make an ends meet, trying to achieve something, trying to should I say get your life in check, trying to make something for your future, you would value that thing. So in as much as you're going through challenges in life, you're going through difficulties, you're going through whatever life gives at you, just keep on chasing that zebra, keep on chasing that dream, because zebra here means your dreams, your ambition, what you want to accomplish. Now keep on chasing it, because at the end of the day you would get it, and you would also value it. It is going to be valuable. You wanted to say something?
Just locking on the target.
Yeah.
Locking on the target.
Yes.
Get results. That's what matters. Your challenges are stories. People are not interested in your stories.
Yes.
People are interested in the results. It doesn't matter your challenges, you understand? You know, somebody sometime was saying that it takes success to cancel insults. I don't know, but true to it, at the end of the day,
just the way they say success is the sweet revenge.
Okay.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, what the world is after is your success. So irrespective of what the challenge is, lock your eye on the target like a crafted marksman. Set your gaze on that target, hit your target, and when you hit that target, you will see the clap. People would what? Give you ovation, and that's what really matters. At the end of the day, remain focused, remain locked on the target, and then bring the success home. That's the end point. That's what matters.
All right, thank you very much. So what this proverb is actually trying to teach us, or what it's trying to teach me in person, is that failure is not shameful. Now what is shameful is never trying at all. That when we don't try at all to accomplish something, that every accomplishment also begins with a courage. So as you go about your day to day, do not forget that each road, the road to success may be long, but only those who keep chasing their dreams have a chance to catch them. And also, as you go about your day, do not forget that each new sunrise is an invitation or an opportunity for us to grow, for us to try something new and learn, or simply be more present in whatever we do. Let us know what this quote means to you. You can drop your thoughts on Facebook, X, Instagram, or right here on YouTube, or at Aneke TV, or you can call our phone number 07030437110. We'll be going on a short break, and up next will be the weather report.
The Arena with Chris and Ibogo is the platform where we meet to take critical analysis of burning and topical issues and matters in the society as to proper solutions on making the society better.
You came into office, you lock the door to everybody. Nobody can even access you. You don't even play the politics.
Month in, month out, year in, year out. So where is the money going to? Where's the resources?
Whenever the economy is in a shambles, you find the government embracing pro-people policy to assuage the harsh economic reality.
It was used to settle political interest, and Nigerians were paying dearly for it.
Tune in to the Arena with Chris and Ibogo every Monday through Thursday by 1 p.m. only on Aneke TV. Join us.
You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV. Next, we'll take a look at the weather reports across major cities in the southeast today.
Yes, good morning, Oka. We start the day under cloudy skies, currently around 22 degrees Celsius. Expect a damp morning with showers around 9 a.m. at 24 degrees Celsius. Then a shift to cloudy conditions through the mid-morning and early afternoon as temperatures climb to around 29 degrees Celsius by 2 p.m. Into the evening, it cools off gently to about 24 to 26 degrees Celsius.
Hello, Enugu. The coast city starts mostly cloudy at 25 degrees Celsius. Expect steady warming, and by noon, we are reaching at about 30 degrees Celsius. And by early afternoon, some hazy sunshine kicks in, pushing temperatures to a peak of around 33 degrees Celsius. Evening brings some relief, with skies clearing a bit and heat easing into the highs of 20 degrees Celsius.
Yes, and in Abakaliki, here we go, starting at 24 degrees Celsius on the cloud cover, with rainfall likely around 9 a.m. at 26 degrees Celsius, and again near 11 a.m. at 29 degrees Celsius. After that, cloud breaks or haze move in and temperatures climb to 31 to 32 degrees Celsius by early afternoon. Evening sees gradual cooling to around 27 to 28 degrees Celsius.
Good morning, Imo State. Owerri starts off cloudy at about 23 degrees Celsius. Rain or showers likely from 9 to 11 a.m. Climbing through the late morning to around 29 to 30 degrees Celsius by midday. Afternoon holds mostly cloudy skies with temperatures near 30 to 31 degrees Celsius. Evening will bring some relief, hovering around 25 to 26 degrees Celsius.
And lastly, Umahia waking up at around 23 degrees Celsius under cloudy skies. Rain is likely by 9 to 10 a.m. Then we move into mostly cloudy, partly sunny conditions, with the temperature rising to about 30 to 31 degrees Celsius by early afternoon. As the evening sets in, it cools off to near 27 to 28 degrees Celsius and down a bit further to 25 to 26 degrees Celsius by night.
So, wherever you are in the southeast today, stay safe, stay cool, keep an umbrella handy, but do remember that rain or shine, we've got you covered. And this is your weather report on Sunrise on Aneke TV. We'll be right back.
The Arena with Chris and Ibogo is the platform where we meet to take critical analysis of burning and topical issues and matters in the society as to proper solutions on making the society better.
You came into office, you lock the door to everybody. Nobody can even access you. You don't even play the politics.
Month in, month out, year in, year out. So where is the money going to? Where's the resources?
Whenever the economy is in a shambles, you find the government embracing pro-people policy to assuage the harsh economic reality.
It was used to settle political interest, and Nigerians were paying dearly for it.
Tune in to the arena with Chris and Iwogo every Monday through Thursday by 1 p.m. only on Aneke TV. Join us.
Whatever is the challenges.
Igbo man wrestles with
the tortoise that had a lot of ingenuity, a lot of ideas, and the tireless.
It will take the bold mind of government in power to say, let there be electoral reform, no matter whose ox is God.
I was there. We did everything. All of us came and supported him with our last blood.
In-depth analysis, expert views, real voices, uncover the stories shaping Nigeria today. Deep dive, honest, unfiltered, only on the Insight with Uche Osai on Aneke TV. Join us.
You're still watching Sunrise on Aneke TV. Now let's take a quick look at what's making the front page headlines across major newspapers today in The Nation, Punch, Vanguard and The Guardian newspaper. Now on The Nation headline, we have conflicting court orders on convention, PDP faction clash. And on the Punch headlines, we have ex-generals fume as FG orders probe. And on the Vanguard headline, we have NGE insists on free press as Tinubu urges fairness, pledges recovery. On the Vanguard headline, we have Tinubu backs NGE's proposal for media tax relief, VAT exemption. Still on the Vanguard headline below, we have the UN names Nigeria, Mali among 16 hunger crisis hotspots. And lastly, in the Guardian headline, we have NGE insists on free press as Tinubu urges fairness, pledges recovery. And today's paper will be starting off with the Nation headline that says conflicting court orders on convention, PDP functions clash. And the main opposition party, the PDP, is caught in turmoil. Two factions are issuing conflicting instructions about the upcoming national convention scheduled for November 15 to 16 in Ibadan. The faction led by Umar Iliya Damagun insists the convention should go ahead, relying on an Ibadan High Court order that extended the right for the party to proceed. Mr. Uche, I would like to know your thoughts on this headline.
Okay, the issues with the PDP can be overemphasized. It's been at the front burner for months now in Nigeria, making headlines, and I would want to toe the line of people who keep on asking, why is the PDP making headlines in Nigeria continuously for the wrong reasons? And while I listened to one of the board of the trustees members yesterday speaking to this very issue, why the crisis in PDP keep making headlines, despite the fact that everybody wants to write off PDP, given by the myriad of crises that the PDP were witnessing with PDP. He says it's to the fact that even the ruling party and every Nigerian knows what PDP can bring to the table come 2027. That's why the PDP, despite the myriad of challenges, the crisis is still making front page headline. Instead of being a dead and forgotten carcass, they're still there at the front burner of issues in Nigeria. Now, speaking to the crisis in PDP, we've all been about it. It is well publicized, well documented. It is no longer a hidden fact that there are factions in the PDP. The factions led by Nwike, now Sam Anyanwu, who is the National Secretary of the party, suspended National Secretary of the party by the faction led by Damagun, the National Chairman of the party, backed by the governors, ruling governors from the PDP. Now, it begins to tell you that when the higher-ups in a party are beginning to fight, at the end of the day, one asks, where is the grass? that will suffer in all this. And PDP, though the elephant in itself is equally the grass, and by this, it begins to trickle down on Nigerians who lack representative opposition. But speaking to this issue is quite unfortunate and quite lack every manner of comprehension that the judiciary, held in higher esteem, are being dragged into this whole mess. It's quite unfortunate that the judiciary is being, involved in this mess. We are seeing orders and counter orders. And speaking to this fact now, you are quite aware that the Wike Anyanwu-led faction had gone to court, obtained a federal high court order at the court of Justice James Omotosho on 31st July, stopping the convention of the PDP slated for 15th to 16th of November, citing that the PDP should revert to the party constitution before embarking on this very convention. But against that judgment, we've seen the Damagun-led faction insisting that the convention would hold, that they are standing on the ruling of a Supreme Court judgment that places every party affairs to be resolved at the party as a party issue and not issue for litigation. Then it becomes very worrisome that Justice Omotosho of the Federal High Court and other lower courts are entering into a matter that's been designed by the Supreme Court as an affairs of the political party and should be resolved as an internal affair of that party. However, that's why I am worried, because the sacredness of the judiciary is no longer being respected by the various parties in question. If we are at a time where the judiciary is respected in Nigeria, an order of court will be respected and will be duly followed to see that such an order is set aside. But what do we have in Nigeria now? You get orders and counter orders. When these judges give an order, you go to another court and get a counter order. And in this case, we've seen an Ibadan High Court sitting to give an ex parte order mandating the chairman of the party to go ahead with the convention. This order that was instigated by a party chieftain, talked about Fulahon Adelabi, who went to court. He went to the Federal High Court at Ibadan in Oyo to get an order restricting the chairman of the party from cancelling the slated convention of 15 and 16 of November. In this case, that faction will tell you that the hands of the chairman, the party, is tied, that in respect to this court order, they will have to go ahead to hold the convention of the party as slated. And then more worrisome is that we are thinking that the court orders will be rested on these opposing court injunctions from the Federal High Court at Abuja and the Federal High Court and the High Court in Oyo. But this time around, we are seeing other orders. Talk about order coming from Justice Peter Lifao of the High Court again, an interim order on the order of a party chieftain. Talk about Sule Lamido, the former PDP governor of Jigawa State, an ex-senator who has gone to court this time around to stop the convention slated for 15th and 16th from holding. And what is his grounds? That he's been citing exclusion from obtaining the form of the party to participate in the convention and contest for the chairmanship position of this party. And it becomes more worrisome that when we are calling for these very factions to sit down, then it's as if that more issues are coming up. How do we reconcile these orders? And against this backdrop, the same court in Oyo State has extended that interim order, giving credence to what the Damagul-led faction is saying, that this order, this convention would go on to hold. And I listened to one of the the trustee members of the PDP yesterday saying that the convention would hold as planned, that they will go ahead with the convention. And Debbie, is more worrisome. We are thinking that all factions in the PDP at this time will sit down, find a way to resolve this crisis, bearing in mind that 2026 is here, and once we step into 26, it becomes, we'll now start stepping on the top gear in preparation for 2027 election. PDP, are they telling me that their interest is not to field a candidate come 2027? And you cannot have a candidate in that party without a convention holding. Now, these two factions seems to have stuck to their guns. The Sam Anyanwu-led faction with their chairman Abraham are insisting that this convention will not hold, while the other faction are still insisted that they will go ahead with this convention. And I can tell you that if they go ahead with this convention, it will not be subject to litigation. At the end of the day, it will be bent on the court to interpret and decide which of the faction has pandered to the side of the law. And this is one of the things we are kicking against in Nigeria. We do not like or want a situation where the court continue to determine the outcome of our elections, the outcome of political events in Nigeria, where voters, for example, in Nigeria no longer have that requisite power to determine who leads them. Where we run after election, we go to court to go get orders and begin to probe electoral process. In as much as we want to continue to speak to the irregularities, the imperfections in our elections, we would want to see a situation where the people's votes count, where mandates are driven from the ballot box by the authority of the voters, and not where we now rely on interpretations from the courts to get leaders. And we'll continue to speak to that effect, but the political parties continue to give more energization to this trend where the court becomes the basis, the last basis for determination of our political journey in Nigeria. And this is quite worrisome. And maybe it becomes more worrisome that we'll continue to speak to this issue, because when you look at it, there's no viable opposition in Nigeria at this moment. And this is why every well-meaning Nigerians need to stand up and begin to speak to this issue. For me, at this point in time, it's no longer a party affair. It should be an affair for all concerned, right-thinking, patriotic Nigerians to see that this issue is resolved, and resolved quickly. And more worrisome is the fact that the PDP seems to lack the courage to begin to discipline its area members, because you remember that we did say to speak to the fact that without PDP bringing disciplinary cane or disciplinary action on its area members for active party activities, that this crisis in PDP will not be resolved. And as the day goes by, we are increasingly and continuously justified for that position that we took on this very issue. The PDP need to come out categorically to begin to discipline its members. And the question is, why is PDP unable to discipline its members? What are the various interests in PDP? And this speaks to the fact that he who goes to equity must go to equity with clean hands. And I do not think that the various parties in PDP at this point in time, when I say parties, I mean the various factions, the Damagu-led faction and the Wike Sam Anyanwu-led faction, I do not think that they are in all this with clean hands. I think that they have a soiled hand, making it difficult for them to stand and speak courageously on issues. Some people must be disciplined for PDP to begin to rearrange and reorganize itself as party of repute. Then and only then can they move forward. Because when you see the challenges, the crisis in PDP, then it's not far-fetched that these are man-made issues, that when they jump one hurdle, another hurdle is set on the way. So let all parties, it's time for all parties to come together. Let all soiled hands be pushed aside. Let party men of integrity come forward and decide the future of this party. And I would want to call on the likes of Chief Bode George, who have been veterans in PDP, who have been fathers in PDP, that it's not time for them to take back seats. It's time for them to bring their experience to bear. Begin to persuade the likes of Wike Sam Anyanwu, the Damagu-led faction. Let everybody come together and have no holds-barred discussion on this matter to decipher a way forward. Then, because if you look at this, it may begin to give credence to the fact that some persons within the party do not want PDP to have a candidate come 2027. It can no longer be an illusion, because we are seeing the hands here. We are seeing the obvious hands here. It's no longer a question of the voice of Jacob or the voice of Esau, the hand of Jacob here. No, everything is being led bare. We are now knowing who stands where they stand. So it's time the fathers of the PDP It's time for them to step in on the path of sincerity, on the path of courage and boldness, and begin to discipline their members. And I can tell you, without discipline, we would think that we surmounted this very hurdle. Then you begin to see another challenge. And as at this point in time, I have full doubt with this convention, if this convention does eventually hold in how many days' time? Less than 3 days' time we're talking about. If this convention does hold, one does not know the legality of this very convention, what will come out of it, because the Samanyangu late fashion has insisted that that convention, in respect to court orders, cannot hold. And one begins to wonder where PDP will begin to legally extricate itself from whatever results that emanates from this very convention. I dare call on the PDP governors, on the, like I did, the PDP founding fathers who are still available, and all patriotic Nigerians, that it's time for all hands to be on deck to salvage the PDP, not for the sake of PDP, but for the sake of the Nigerian masses who desire a very viable opposition. Because at this point in Nigerian trajectory, it's quite unfortunate when we want to side with those who think that Nigeria is tilting towards a one-party state. There is no viable opposition, and these conflicting court orders at this moment is not helping matters. I think that the Nigerian Judicial Council should equally bring in their own, have a training and retraining, where let the judiciary be able to take a common front on issues like this, without talking about restricting the right of judges to rule on issues on their merit. But what is happening is beginning to cast aspiration on the integrity of our judiciary, and that should not be allowed to stand.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much for that. Now we'll be moving over to our next paper, coming from the Punch headline that says ex-generals fume as federal government orders probe. And now this headline centers on a public clash involving the Nyesom Wike-led Federal Capital Territory FCT administration and a naval officer over a land dispute. Several former military generals have expressed outrage in response. The federal government of Nigeria has ordered a formal probe by the Ministry of Defense to investigate what happened. And this incident raises questions about civil-military relations and how elite disputes over land are handled. The probe could set a precedent for how such confrontations are managed publicly. We can see an online trending video. This newspaper is actually referring to the video that has been trending recently between the federal FCT minister Nyesom Wike and a naval officer during a land dispute, where we could see some banter of words, and the federal minister, FCT minister, Nyesom Wike throwing insults at the naval officer. And now this headline is trying to is focusing on ex-generals fume as federal government orders probe. Mr. Uche, I would like to know your take on this headline.
All right, you know, that video really is quite disheartening, being that it's beginning to expose the malaise in our society, the decay in our society. It's quite worrisome that such video was meant to go public, where a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on enforcing, yes, some have argued within his right to enforce orders around the FCT, and then standing there to, you know, have an altercation with a military man who is in uniform is worrisome, and does not, you know, encourage or in any way would encourage people or Nigerians towards patriotism, because people are beginning to question the patriotism of the minister himself in this issue. But more worrisome now is that this is beginning to become an issue in Nigeria. To invite you to take a look and watch the video.
No, it's okay. From demolition is property.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
That's
matter.
all that matters. I'm an officer. I take to orders.
So what? You harder who than me?
So I'm an officer. I take to orders.
To order that you take illegal orders.
Mr. General.
Okay.
I can't say no. That was
You can never develop this property. I will not allow it.
No problem, sir.
I'm
only acting on my orders.
If you want to kill everybody, kill everybody.
We will not kill
You
anybody,
cannot.
sir. We will not. We will not kill anybody, sir.
You put yourself in trouble.
We will not.
My friend, you see?
What is that? You cannot shut me up. Look at you. You cannot shut me up. You are my junior. You cannot even talk when I'm talking. Because I'm. You're only that you wait. I'll be talking and policemen will be talking.
Hey, you are taking with us. You don't have any good.
I'm not to carry security to intimidate because you're an officer. Nobody does that.
We did not carry anybody.
The man took the land. We will not allow because he was taking on over and then you to carry land.
Sir, everything was acquired legally.
Will you stop
so
that?
You get
Will you stop that?
Sir, I'm an officer. I have integrity.
Shut up, your mouth. Put us.
I will not shut up.
Will you get out?
Sir, I won't shut up. Sir, I'm a
I
police
was in
officer.
school. You're not in school.
Sir, you can't shut
Will
me
you keep
up.
quiet?
You
You
can't shut
can't
me
take
up, sir.
food.
I'm not a
You are
fool.
the fool.
I'm not a
You
fool,
think
sir.
I shoot anybody like that?
Sir, I'm not
You
a
are the
fool.
fool. Are you
I am not a fool, sir.
As at the time I graduated, you were in primary school.
I'm acting on orders.
Take for which
You can't
order?
call me a fool.
You will see whether you love it here.
Sir, you can't call me a fool.
Go
I'm
and develop your
an officer.
mind.
I'm not a fool, sir. I'm an officer.
You will have killed everybody here.
No, we won't kill anybody. We won't kill anybody.
All right, well, that was the video. Now let's take a look at what some commenters on the street has to say concerning this dispute between the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and the naval officer.
Good day, Nigerians. A recent viral video of a politician confronting a security officer who stood his ground. We're on the street today to hear what Nigerians think about this incident.
No, it's quite not common because, most security agencies, perhaps do the biddings of the government. And, that was, I didn't really quite hear enough of the things he said. But the fact that he stood his rights was, quite commendable. I was standing his grounds based on his opinion. I do not think it's offensive in any way because, just the same way you are interviewing me today, I can also, I'm talking about something and I feel like this is my opinion. Another person could have a different opinion. So, yes, that's what I feel.
Well, I felt that the officer is on his right. And moreover, if you go by the law, the only person, that officer, who can give that very officer an order is the president. The least ranking in the army, even the Senate president doesn't have right to order him. So we can come in at that very point and saw an officer of Federal Republic of Nigeria and instructing him. Is the most wrong thing, is one of the wrong things he ever did of his life.
Yeah, well, I think he was smart. I thought he was, it was a contrast. You see, the minister was yelling and then the younger guy was like, retorting back sort of, and just to make sure that I'm not the person you think I am. And I think it's because he's from a structured background, so it's not easy for him to be that intimidated. So yeah, but it's a Nigerian culture thing. We do not respect younger people.
Well, it's embarrassing. to say the least. It's embarrassing because, you don't expect such a figure like Wike, like the Minister of FCT, to say such the things, the words he used. There are other avenues he would have approached, he would have used to, settle the incident. I think for me, he would have just walked away.
It's not common because especially youths are always afraid of all these people, politicians, so that is why when some persons saw the video, like they were so happy. Even I was chatting with my friend, she was like the joy when she was saying it that army officer challenged Wike. I was like, wow. So a youth can also challenge someone in that position. So I think it's not that common because people are always afraid of all these politicians.
I felt happy. I was glad. But I love his courage. He spoke to him in a respectful manner. I love how he accepts the fact that he's not foolish. Sometimes all these, should I say politicians, or all these people that is rich, maybe they think they are too right, that maybe somebody that they are bigger than, that the person cannot speak. No, they think they can suppress people, oppress people anyhow, but it's not done that way. I love how the guy reacted. If we can have that kind of guy 10 or 20 in this Nigeria, or more,
all right, that's very, heartwarming coming from people from the city. You could see the reaction from the streets. And then, now that the ex-generals are fuming about the issue and the federal government have that probe on as a result of this issue, we do not know how this probe will come out. But what we would categorically say in this issue, that whatever probe that has been ordered should be very fair and open-minded in whatever recommendations they will give at the day. However, when one look at the position of the Minister of Defense, given that ex-generals are beginning to speak up on this very matter, you will see that one is consoled when the Minister of Defense, in complimenting this young officer for being disciplined, demonstrating that he is a well-disciplined, well-trained officer during this altercation. He maintained his composure throughout the time, represented the Nigerian military very well. And if one continues to align with the position of the generals who have come out, for example, Lieutenant General Tuko Brutai, who was former CAS, Chief of Army Staff, has come out public to say that Wike, in this case, should apologize to the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. And who is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces? That's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That Wike, by standing before the uniformed officer to insult him, has insulted the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, and as well should render apology to the Armed Forces, because according to them, that would lead to demoralization of other personnel, and that should not be condoned. That Wike, knowing that what that soldier represents as at that point in time he's not standing there on his own, that since he is standing on order, he represents the orders of the Commander-in-Chief, and that they've complimented this young man for standing on order. What the minister should have done at this point in time, we are not saying that the minister is totally wrong for wanting to enforce orders, but how he has gone about it, being the Minister of FCT, we know that this is about a landing dispute where we were told that the retired naval officer, you're talking about Zubaru Gabau, that he obtained the land illegally, not possessing the requisite documents for this land. What Wike would have done is, first of all, perhaps he should have written to the Ministry of Defense, who would in turn invite this retired general. They have a way of the processes in the military where this man will be invited and due orders will be followed in resolving this matter. And the minister equally has the court at his disposal. He will have approached the court, gotten an order restricting the military and the officers from access to that land, and that will have somehow curtailed what we witness. And more generals, coming out to speak, talk about people like retired General Peter Arrow in this matter. He's continuing to say that this shows you how power should be wielded and how power should not be wielded in a democracy. A lot of military officers, retired and present military officers, continue to speak to this very issue. But the point here is that every Nigerian has stood up to speak in congratulatory message or congratulatory song to the young officer for maintaining his composure, not letting things go beyond the level that we witness. While we commend the federal government for setting up this probe, they should see to it that the probe is fair-minded. At the end of the day, let the due thing be done. Let the due process be followed in whatever recommendation they come out with. And we should not encourage things like this. The minister has at his disposal, at the red dial of the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru, who have resolved these issues without this level of altercation that we witness. And on that note, we will call on all our leaders who wield authority that they should refrain from such acts. When you're wielding authority, you should be, discipline, a lot discipline on your part on how you wield authority, especially in front of subordinates where the masses are involved, because issues like this, without missing word, may go a long way, in demoralizing our uniformed men, our security forces. And this issue like this should not be allowed to repeat itself. And in this instance, we commend the Minister of Defense for coming to the defense of this young officer who at that point was only sticking to his orders. Without much being said, we would encourage the federal government as they go ahead with this probe, but let this probe be in such a way to deter other political office holders, other leaders, as a way of, training and retrain them on where their limits are, where they should not overstep. In this case, it's so worrisome that we are beginning to see something in the public domain, and it should not be. And when you hear the people's opinion from the street, you see that people are not quite keen for such an event, and we should discourage it in any way possible.
All right, thank you very much for that. Now, lastly, we're taking a look at the last paper for today, coming from the Guardian headline that says, NG insists on free press as Tinubu urges fairness, pledges recovery. And in another media-related story, the NGE reiterated its call for press freedom, while President Tinubu emphasized the need for the press to operate fairly, responsibly, and in a manner that strengthens democracy. During the 21st All Nigeria Editors Conference in Abuja, Tinubu praised the media's historic role and committed to restoring economic stability for Nigeria's press, noting that freedom must go hand in hand with accountability. Mr. Ucha, I would like to know your thoughts.
All right. When I saw this headline, and then having watched the videos from this very conference of the 21st All Editors Conference of the Nigerian Guild of Editors held at the State House, I was so excited that I saw Nigerian editors who went to the State House, not cap in hand to solicit or beg for money or for fund. But when you look at the deliberations at the conference, you will be encouraged that this nation have men and women who care about this nation, who care about this profession and the media in Nigeria. And like the President of the Guild did state in his speech, talking about Eze Anamba, he said that without journalism, the people cannot be informed. And when you have uninformed citizens, that democracy will be weakened. And to that, we commend the editors for being forthright when they are at the State House to, rather than begging the president for, for funds, for money, they went in there, stated the position of Nigeria and the status of the media in Nigeria. One will remember that the media is out to make a profit, and given the economic situation in Nigeria, that may be very, very difficult for them. What were they asking for? They asked the president for 5 to 10 years corporate tax relief, and then they equally asked that VAT be, there has to be tax return for corporations that advertise with registered media houses in Nigeria, and then for that's talking about tax credits as well, and then for SME loans for media startups from the Bank of Industries. And this is quite encouraging, because if the media has access to such opportunities, when you talk about tax credits and then a 5 to 10 years tax relief, that would make the media houses to show up, be strong, in order to, first of all, be able to pay salary, be able to afford the needed equipment to strengthen their operations. Media equally is there to make money, and at the end of the day, what matters is when you're stable, you will be fair-minded in your reports, in whatever you give out. And then it becomes more encouraging, listening to the president, extolling the press as being the watchdog of the country, but reminding them that they should be very fair-minded in their reporting, that they should see to it that all information that they dish out should be verified, because whatever they write, what they say, stands a chance, of derailing democracy. And whatever that the press in Nigeria are dishing out, they should see to it, no matter how they criticize the government, they should see to it that the national unity of Nigeria, which is sacrosanct, is not affected by their writings or whatever they package for the media. They can criticize the government, but they should be fair-minded in all that. And given the trajectory of the Nigerian press, the Nigerian media in Nigeria, one cannot only but be encouraged when you watch what they've passed through. The other time we were talking about the press in Nigeria from inception to the challenges they face under the military, operating under tight schedule, under tight security, not being free. Some of them operated from hiding. Even the president can attest to that, because we know that he was a member of NADECO. So when you look at the engagement at the conference, it becomes more encouraging that yes, the press in Nigeria, who are the fourth, they are kind of the fourth estate, they are the fourth estate of the rim, are here to stay, and they will continue to do their job. They will do it with all fair-mindedness, and we encourage the president for having pledged to look into their requests of tax relief and instituting loans for startups in the industry. This will go a long way to make sure that we have a very solid media in Nigeria, because without the media in Nigeria, without a solid media, the democracy may begin to tilt towards authoritarianism, and that will not be allowed. While yes, this is quite celebratory and is quite encouraging for democracy in Nigeria, and we pray and we hope that the Guild of Editors will continue to toe this line of action where they are not non-partisan, where they do not cow to government in power, but have placed a very meaningful demand before government that will see that the media in Nigeria is sustained beyond the economic challenges that Nigeria is facing at this point in time. And I will align in the words of the president that yes, in executing their role as the watchdog in Nigeria, they should be fair-minded. They should see that all issues are verified before being dished out to the public.
All right, thank you very much for that. And now that is all for today's newspaper review. And don't forget that you can grab your physical copies from any of your favorite vendor or catch the e-paper online. And now we'll be taking a look at a trending story, not a trending story, but rather an information coming from NAFDAC. And in NAFDAC, it says the NAFDAC has reaffirmed its commitment to fully enforce the ban on the production and sale of alcohol beverages in sachets and small bottles from below 200 ml by December 2025. NAFDAC has banned the production of beverages in small sachets and bottles due to concerns about drug abuse, particularly among
Good afternoon and welcome to the News at 3 on Aneke TV. First, let's look at stories making the headlines. Libya deports 80 Nigerians amid crackdown on irregular migration. Remi Tinubu distributes 10,000 sanitary packs to Zamfara schoolgirls. Defense Ministry mobilizes retired soldiers for national development. Ebonyi empowers 100 youths and women with skills training. Aba State's movement calls for 6th Southeast state. Over 100 Imo communities sign up for government's business initiative. I am Amaka Nichi. Now the news in details. Libyan authorities have deported 80 Nigerian migrants detained across various holding facilities in the country. The repatriation, coordinated by Libya's Department for Combating Illegal Migration (DCIM) and the Nigerian consulate in Tripoli, took place on Wednesday via Mitiga International Airport. Migrant Rescue Watch confirmed the deportees were transferred to Tripoli under tight security after judicial orders authorized their return. Nigerian consular officials reportedly assisted in documentation and departure formalities. The deportees are among thousands of African migrants detained in Libya while attempting to cross the Mediterranean into Europe. Human rights groups continue to condemn overcrowded conditions and abuses in Libyan detention centers, urging governments to promote safer migration pathways and tackle the root causes of illegal migration. Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has launched the Flow with Confidence menstrual hygiene initiative in Zamfara State, distributing 10,000 packs of sanitary pads to schoolgirls across rural communities. Speaking through Zamfara First Lady Hajiya Huriya Lawal, Mrs. Tinubu said the intervention, part of her renewed Hope initiative, aims to ensure no girl misses school due to lack of menstrual products. She emphasized that poor menstrual hygiene continues to keep girls out of classrooms, especially in rural areas, and urged local government leaders to take ownership of the program to ensure fair and transparent distribution. The initiative, worth over 2.55 billion naira, procured the pads locally from Uniglory Nigeria Limited in Lagos. Mrs. Tinubu traditional and community leaders to support and monitor the program while encouraging beneficiaries to stay in school and never let stigma affect their education or confidence. The chairperson of the Secondary Schools Education Board, Hajiya Kolu Nala, praised the First Lady for her commitment to girls' education and dignity. Governor Basiotu of Cross River State has announced key appointments and disciplinary actions as part of efforts to strengthen governance and accountability. He appointed Barrister Nsa Ebo as chairman of the Cross River Social Investment Program (SIP) and Dr. Kalistus Aruku as chairman of the Youth Empowerment Scheme (YES). The governor described the appointment as part of his commitment to merit-driven, people-focused leadership. Meanwhile, Otu accepted the resignation of Mr. Darlington Basieyo, chairman of the Local Government Service Commission, following reports of employment racketeering. He has ordered a full review and suspension of the compromise recruitment exercise. The governor reaffirmed his zero tolerance for corruption and vowed to ensure transparency in all government processes. In a separate event, Otu received the new flag officer commanding Eastern Naval Command, Rear Admiral Chidozie Okehe, commending the Navy for its partnership in securing the state's waterways and coastal communities. Niger State Governor Umaru Bago is calling for stronger military action to curb rising insecurity across the state. During a meeting with Major General Wara Idris, a theater commander of Operation Fansan Yama in Mina, Bago proposed the creation of forward operating bases FOBs in Mailaka and Kuruge, key entry points vulnerable to bandit attacks. He also offered to help recruit 25,000 youths to support security operations, stressing the need for more equipment, air support, and logistics suited to Niger's terrain. The governor commended the military's efforts and expressed optimism that Operation Fansan Yama will restore peace to troubled areas like Kainji Lake National Park and Bogo Local Council. In a separate event, Bago commissioned a new Standards Organization of Nigeria's Son office in Mina, describing it as a symbol of progress and a boost for farmers, traders, and manufacturers under his new Niger agenda. Meanwhile, General Idris reaffirmed the military's commitment to dismantling bandit enclaves and restoring security across the northwest and north-central zones. Ogun State Governor Prince Dakpo Abiodun has praised the President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Dongban Mensem, for approving the establishment of the Abeokuta Division of the Court of Appeal, describing it as a landmark decision that will enhance justice delivery and boost investor confidence in the state. Speaking at the 2025-2028 medium-term expenditure framework and 2026 budget session in Abeokuta, Abiodun said the move recognizes Ogun's growing judicial workload, noting that nearly 75% of appeal cases from the Ibadan division originate from Ogun State. The governor said his administration had already secured land for the new court complex along Kobakwe Road, Abeokuta, and would begin construction immediately, even without federal funding. Abiodun added that the new division will decongest the Ibadan division. Excuse me. Abiodun added that the new division will decongest the Ibadan division, bring justice closer to the people, and serve as a major driver of economic growth under the state's Ease of Doing Business Index. He thanked the judiciary for its partnership and reaffirmed his administration's commitment to providing the judicial system with the resources needed to ensure fair, swift, and accessible justice for all citizens. The federal government has reabsorbed 2,141 Civil War veterans into the military pension scheme, addressing a long-standing gap for personnel who retired before completing qualifying years. Minister of Defense Mohammed Badaru Abubakar announced the move in Abuja, calling it a step toward fairness and national reconciliation. The ministry also launched a new initiative, RUSEP-P, Reclaiming the Ungoverned Space for Economic Benefits program, designed to mobilize retired military veterans to restore security and stimulate economic growth in previously insurgent-occupied areas. As part of broader reforms, the Nigerian Legion Act is under review to be renamed the Veterans Federation of Nigeria, VFN, strengthening legal protections and reintegration programs for ex-service members. The Defense Ministry has also expanded healthcare and welfare support via Defense Health Maintenance Limited, DHML, covering over 400,000 enrollees, and disbursed 18 billion naira in group life insurance benefits to veterans and families. Badaru stressed that these measures aim to leverage veterans' expertise for national security and economic development, reinforce the country's commitment to those who served. Still on the local news, Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun has unveiled an ambitious plan to generate 500 billion naira in internally generated revenue IGR for the 2026 fiscal year. Speaking at the 2026 to 2028 medium-term expenditure framework meeting in Abeokuta, Abiodun said Ogun, Nigeria's industrial hub, will leverage its proximity to Lagos and vast landmass to meet the target. He tasked the Ogun State Internal Revenue Service to deliver 250 billion naira, while other key agencies, including OPIC, the Bureau of Lands, and the Ministries of Education and Housing, are expected to drive the rest. Abiodun described every government agency as a piece of the jigsaw in achieving the state's economic vision. Meanwhile, in Ondo State, tension fled in the House of Assembly over 531 billion naira supplementary budget proposed by Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa. Lawmakers accused Speaker Olamide Oladiji of trying to rush the bill through, leading to a walkout during the session. The PDP condemned the move, calling it budget plunder, while Information Minister Idowu Ajanako denied any division, saying the bill would soon be passed. And this news broadcast is coming to you live from Aneke TV. Remember, you can stay connected with us on all social media platforms: Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Aneke TV. Now, a quick reminder of major developments in the news. Libya deports 80 Nigerians amid crackdown on irregular migration. Remi Tinubu distributes 10,000 sanitary packs to Zamfara schoolgirls. Defense Ministry mobilizes retired soldiers for national development. As still to come, Aba State's movement calls for 6 Southeast states. Ebonyi empowers 100 youths and women with skills training. Over 100 Imo communities sign up for government business initiative. Please stay with us.
The Arena with Chris and Ibogo is the platform where we meet to take critical analysis of burning and topical issues and matters in the society as to proper solutions on making the society better.
You came into office, you locked the door to everybody. Nobody can even access you. You don't even play the politics.
Don't in, month out, year in, year out. So where is the money going to? Where's the resources?
Whenever the economy is in a shambles, you find the government embracing pro-people policy to assuage the harsh economic reality.
It was used to settle political interest, and Nigerians were paying dearly for it.
Tune in to the arena with Chris and Ibogo every Monday through Thursday by 1 p.m. only on Aneke TV. Join us. You're still watching the news at 3 on Aneke TV. Now we'll bring you the rest of the news. The Asagba of Asaba, Professor Epiphany Chibogun Azinge, SAN, has urged government, healthcare workers and stakeholders to join the fight against hospital malnutrition, calling it a silent but critical health challenge. The call came during a visit from Dr. Teresa Isiche Pounds, founder of the West African Society of Parental and Eternal Nutrition, WASPAN, who briefed the monarch on preparations for the 2026 Clinical Nutrition Conference in Asaba, scheduled for June 23 to 26 at the Federal Medical Center. Dr. Pound said the conference aims to raise awareness, train healthcare providers, and promote hospital nutrition support that could save countless lives. She also appealed for government backing to ensure the program's success. The Asagba praised WASPAN for bringing global expertise home to Asaba and pledged his palace's support, emphasizing that diaspora engagement is key to improving healthcare delivery in the kingdom. The team also secured full support from the Delta State Ministry of Health, ensuring collaboration for a successful conference. The Aba State movement has renewed its call for the creation of Aba State as a sixth state in Nigeria's southeast, insisting the move will not destabilize Abia State. Speaking at his press conference, spokesperson Chief Theo Nkire dismissed fears that splitting Aba would cause economic collapse. He highlighted Abia North's wealth in minerals, gas and arable land, stressing that the region can sustain itself. Nkire noted that the Aba State demand dates back to 70 years and enjoys historical and cultural justification, with Ohanes and Igbo committees in 2015 and 2018 endorsing it. He appealed to the National Assembly to approve Aba State, saying it is distinct, viable and supported by Governor Oti. The proposed Aba State would include 9 of Abia's 17 local governments, primarily in the economic hub, while leaving the remaining regions economically resilient. Ebonyi State has empowered 100 youths and women through a 3-month government-sponsored training program aimed at tackling unemployment. Deputy Governor Patricia Obila said the program, which ran from August to November, equipped participants with vocational and digital skills, including ICT, content creation, video editing, tailoring, barbing, graphics, web design, building construction, painting, and POP production. Commissioner for Skill Development Elijah Okuoko highlighted the program's focus on entrepreneurship, self-resilience, and the ability to train others, calling it a milestone in youth empowerment. Participants praised the state government, describing the initiative as a game-changer for youth development and job creation under Governor Francis Nwifu's administration. Imo State's One Kindred, One Business initiative, Okobi, is gaining momentum, with 104 communities recently joining the state's flagship entrepreneurship program. The move brings the total to over 500 community-based businesses and 20,000 participants in just 2 years. Approved by Governor Hope Uzodinma, Okobi aims to empower communities, fight poverty and create jobs through group-based enterprises across the state's 630 autonomous communities. Chief Economic Advisor Professor Kenneth Amechi said participants are now refining business ideas into bankable proposals ahead of official registration and launch. We are thrilled to see communities embracing this opportunity, he noted. The government is calling on more communities to join the future phases, promising sustained public updates as the program moves from concept to implementation, turning local talent into economic growth. Business and finance experts have urged Nigerian entrepreneurs to embrace strategic partnerships as a survival strategy in today's challenging economy.
Speaking at the Business Financial Conference in Lagos themed Building Bridges, the Power of Collaboration, organizing CEO of Extra Think Tank Solutions, Oladimeji Oke, described Nigeria's economy as volatile and complex, stressing that collaboration and financial transparency are key to resilience. Oke also launched his book, The Complete SME Guide 2, which breaks down the 2026 Finance Tax Act for business owners. Other speakers, including Dr. Sunday Olorunseyi of a Pertinence Group and leadership coach Niyi Adesanya, emphasized that collaboration, trust and shared value drive sustainable growth. Panelists Dr. Mark Odige and Dr. Oseni Olalekan agree that collaboration isn't optional, it's mandatory for success, while entrepreneur Prudent Okopi urged SMEs to build structure, vision and generosity into their operations. The event ended with a call for entrepreneurs to replace competition with cooperation to accelerate innovation and business growth. Still in business, the Naira on Wednesday recorded its steepest decline this week, sliding to 1,443 Naira 8 kobo per dollar at the official market. 4 Naira 3 kobo drop from 1,438 Naira 71 kobo traded on Tuesday, according to the data from the Central Bank of Nigeria. At the parallel market, the currency held steady at 1,645 Naira per dollar, unchanged from the previous day. This marks the Naira's largest daily depreciation so far this week, despite Nigeria's foreign reserves climbing to $43.37 billion as of November 10, 2025. Analysts say the continued pressure on the currency underscores persistent demand for the dollar amid limited supply and market uncertainty. The World Bank has criticized Nigeria's social protection system, revealing that less than half of welfare benefits actually reach poor households. In a new report, The State of Social Safety Net in Nigeria, the bank said only 44% of government social benefits go to the poor, while 56% of beneficiaries aren't classified as poor at all. It blamed design flaws in several programs that pay a flat rate per household rather than per person, leaving large, poorer families undersupported. Nigeria's social protection spending, the bank noted, stands at just 0.14% of GDP, far below the global average of 1.5% and Africa's 1.1%. Despite these challenges, the bank praised the National Social Safety Net Program, NASSP, for using the National Social Registry, which now covers 85 million Nigerians and has helped reduce poverty among beneficiaries by over 4 percentage points. The report urges Nigeria to increase domestic funding, improve targeting and index payments to household size. It also recommends using savings from the fuel subsidy removal, about 5.2% of GDP annually, to strengthen social protection and align spending with regional standards. And heading to the world of sport, the Nigeria Premier Football League, NPFL, has fined Katsina United 9 million naira following violent incidents during their match against Barao FC. The Changi boys were also banned from hosting games at home and will play indoors for the foreseeable future. The NPFL said Katsina United failed to control their fans, who allegedly attacked Barao FC midfielder Nana Abraham, leaving him with a deep neck cut, and threw objects onto the pitch, injuring other players. The club has 48 hours to appeal the sanctions. In entertainment, Senator Ned Nwoko has dismissed claims by his estranged wife and Nollywood actress Regina Daniels that he married her at 17, describing the allegation as false and malicious. In a statement on social media, Nwoko said Regina told him she was 21 years old when they met and even presented her INEC voters card, showing her birth date as October 10, 1998. He maintained that they married 6 years ago, making Regina 27 years old today, and urged the public to disregard what he called untrue and misleading statements. The Delta North Senate also linked Regina's recent remarks to mental health struggles and unfinished rehabilitation from drug use, alleging that her brother Samuel Daniels influenced her behavior. Their feud escalated after Regina accused Nwoko of introducing her to drugs, a charge he denied. The controversy has since spilled across social media, drawing widespread public attention as both sides trade accusations. And that's all on the news at 3 on Aneke TV. Before we end the news, here are the main points. Libya deports 80 Nigerians amid crackdown on irregular migration. Remi Tinubu distributes 10,000 sanitary packs to Zamfara schoolgirls. Over 100 Imo communities sign up for government's business initiative. Aba state government calls for 6th Southeast state. And that's the news at 3 p.m. For more updates and breaking stories, follow Aneke TV across all social media platforms or call 0703-043-7110 for eyewitness reports. On behalf of the producer, Chidima Asogwa, I am Amaka Nichi. Thank you for joining us.